Hi, welcome to my channel, Irene's Paper Addiction. Today I'm going to be scrapbooking some pictures from a trip I took to Europe with my sister. We went there a couple years ago to celebrate my 60th birthday, and we just had a blast. And one of the stops was we had went to go visit my aunt. It's my sister, my aunt, and she lives in a little town called Ludwigsburg, which is north of Stuttgart. And while we were there, they had a pumpkin festival going on, similar to the pumpkin festivals that we have here in the US, but a little bit different. This one is called Bloemenda's Baroque. Bloemenda's means blooming, and Baroque is the style of like the architecture and the art. So I have a bunch of photos of us walking through the gardens because this was at a palace. If you see here, I'll grab this one back here in the background. They actually call it a castle, but it looks like a palace to me. Quite large, but it's now a public space, and they have events and what have you there. But they have a beautiful avenue you walk down with all these gorgeous gardens down to the front, and that's where they had all the pumpkins. And so this is the award-winning pumpkin. It was a new German record at 1,052 kilograms. And for my friends here in the US, that's over 2,300 pounds. So had to Google it because I don't know the metric system, unfortunately. But they had carved gourds, and every year they do a theme, and this year the theme was fire. So a lot of the displays are fire. They are all fire related. So we got the Flintstones, you have a fireman, fire or steam from the engine, and they even had a Pokemon. So I'm going to be using a sketch to create this layout. I love sketches. They just make everything a lot easier for me. And I am looking to have a fair amount of photos on this layout. I'm going to be using some flip flaps and what have you, because I really like to keep my layouts for an event, if I can, just to a double page spread. So we have a background paper. We're going to have one that crosses through the center, and then just a couple down the side, and then a few little embellishments. I do know I want to build this on a base of the vanilla, very vanilla cardstock, because I think white was going to be too stark. And then I'm going to bring in, get this lined up here real quick. I want to bring in paper from the Sweet Days of Autumn. I love this paper pack. And I definitely am just going to be pulling all my colors from the picture. So oranges, browns, greens. And then I like this color, like I said, because it's not so harsh, but it also ties in really well with the palace. So I'm thinking definitely this green, maybe that brown. I got a bunch of pieces cut down from previous projects, so hopefully I can incorporate some of those and I don't have to cut down anymore. I also was hoping to bring in some paper from the country woods, and I have a favorite one, and unfortunately I realized this is all I have left. And I was hoping to use this for this item C here, so that I would need a 12 by a 4 by 12, and obviously I don't have that. So that's why I'm thinking this piece here might look really nice. I also, let me see where I have, I was thinking of using now I'm going to have to grab it here real quick. I was thinking I could use maybe this woven textures paper. I will need to see if I have a piece that is 12 by 12. I'm a little concerned that the pattern might be too large, but I do have a 12 by 12. So we're going to pull that out, check out and see if that works. And then for the orange, I have a couple of options. I have this Refreshed Beauty paper pack, and I was thinking this would be kind of cool. It's, you know, the orange, it's pretty bright orange. Goes this way. The flowers are definitely directional, but I liked the foliage and the flowers on here. I thought it tied in well with the concept of the gardens, what have you. And then the other piece I was thinking I might use is this patterned orange, this grid or gingham pattern. Now, if you've been scrapbooking a long time like I have, you might recognize this. This is from Making Memories. And they had their pattern paper, they would have it in multiple colorways, and then within the colorways they had multiple patterns. So this one is the Terracotta Petite Plaid. So I think this is a great option too. This one's just brighter. So what I want to do is just lay down a few of these pieces and then see what looks the best. So if I use the textured, or excuse me, woven textures for my C, and then B is this green, because I definitely want to use the green there. And let's slide the Refresh Beauty, the orange, underneath. So just so we can get somewhat of a visual. And then on this side, I'm going to repeat it and just use the other colors and see which one I like the best. I'm going to lay the photos down, and that way I think I can tell what's going to look, or what I'm going to like the best. So the brown there, and then that green textured paper. I'm going to bring in my photos and just loosely lay them out. I know that I want to do the palace is going to be my focal photo. Let me see here. Here it goes. That's going to be here on the left. So that's going to go right about here, give or take. I have 3 by 3, so I have 5 3 by 3s for that side. So let's bring those in. This castle was so cute. When you walked into the palace and then you started making your way down to the pumpkin exhibit, you walked through these beautiful gardens. They had flamingos and pheasants and just really pretty plants. It was a very informal garden, but they had this tower here. And I do have a picture of it, but on the other side, they have Rapunzel's braid. So it was actually kind of cute that they, you know, because it's like a fairy tale garden. So I'm thinking maybe that one will go up there. I want to show, these are the winning pumpkins. Let's see, my other 3 by 3s. I'm going to put my sister and my aunt up there. And then I want to put the winning pumpkin down here. I'm going to make this one a flip flap, because that's where I'm going to hide all my journaling. And so I will have both sides when I flip it up behind the photo, and then on my layout that I will be able to journal, because I have a fair amount I'd like to say about this day. It was a lot of fun. I have a bunch of different gourds, but this one cracked me up. These guys, they had been drinking and they were passed out. So I thought they were kind of funny. They had a yoga gourd. So I just thought those were cute. These are going to go into flip flap. So I'm going to put the Pokemon down there by himself. Let's see what else. Oh, and then I have, I'm assuming it's some kind of fire fish. I don't know. But he's going to go on the bottom. My little gourds are going to go on top. And then this is a picture of the formal gardens at the end. After you walk through the entire exhibit, they had this beautiful formal garden with the fountains, and it was just gorgeous. So I'm going to leave that one all by itself. And I'm thinking I'm going to put the fireman on top. So that's going to be my layout. Now, as far as the colors are concerned, I think either of them would work really, really well. I don't think one is better than the other. I really don't care for that. So let's light in some brown over here real quick. Tuck that underneath and just kind of get a visual on that. Tuck that in there. But I am thinking that I am going to, decisions. Like I said, I think both work really good. I actually think I'm going to use the plaid, because I really want to use up this paper. Like I said, I probably have had this paper in my stash for 20 years, so I did a definite deep dive on this one. So let me cut down everything and start inking up, because I'm going to ink up my papers, and then I will be right back. I cut everything down, and I did place my title because I wanted to play with it just a little bit, but I'll get back to that in just a second. And just laid a couple of my pictures down on the left side. I wanted to show you what I did here on the right, So for both of these orange plaid papers, I did cut them back. My sketch says 12 inches wide, and these are just 7 because the rest is going to get hidden. And I could save that paper for another 20 years, right? So I'm going to adhere this down. This is going to hide the space there. And I'm going to be using my, let me grab another adhesive. So ran out, and I'm going to be using my T-square just to line that up real quick, because I know I want to have it come out to about the 5-inch mark. So I'm just going to lay my T-ruler, I guess a T-ruler down, and I'm going to aim for that 3-inch mark, because this is 9, no, excuse me, it needs to go, let me go from here. It needs to be 1.5 inches down because it is 9 inches. So I'm going to split the difference. So that's going to go just about there. Just going to eyeball it as close as I can. And you know what, I have to go backwards. So now that I'm thinking about it, I have to put it at the 7-inch. So this side is 5. I was looking at that going, that does not look right. So my goal is to put it here at the 7-inch mark there on top and down about 1.5 inches. So that looks better there. So I did ink everything up. The orange I did in pumpkin pie, the green in old olive, and then the brown I did in pecan pie. My title, I am used 2 different, let me grab them here, 2 different alphabets. The green portion of my title is the mini alphabet die. That is the one that comes with one great big die. And I was really happy. I have this little dish, which I call my little dish of alphabet soup. Because when I first got this, I just cut the whole panel out, and I had all these extra letters. So I got really excited. Got a little dog here and there, sorry. I only ended up having to cut the D out. Everything else I found in here. And then these little marks are called Umlauten in German. You have, the different symbols for the different languages. So it comes with Umlauten. So that made me really happy. And then the Baroque part, which is the same as Baroque in English, is the alphabet a la mode. So it's those really nice big letters. So I'm going to place down these pictures really fast on the right hand side. So this one is going to be my flip flap. You won't see that white. That is just the release paper, but that will lift up. I'm going to try to line that up as best I can. It's slightly larger than a 3x3. I'm not quite sure why, but that's the way it's made. And then I'll have my journaling underneath. So I'm also placing a flip flap, actually 2 flip flaps on this side. And what I'm going to try to do is have a line across so that they all line up nicely. Because I do like that. So something like that. This one can come in a little closer. These 2 are going to be flip flops. So this, I'm putting the little yogi on top, my little drunk guys underneath, and then this one here. So this one will get adhered down, and then this one flip up and down. And I cut slits through my page protector, so I will feed mine up and through. I do adhere my photos that are in my flip flop together so that they lay even. And then basically the same thing is going to happen here. You can also attach your flip flaps on the outside. That works just as well. So that is essentially the layout before my embellishments. I was thinking about matting this, but then when I brought in some brown, because I thought that would be the best color to mat it in, this pattern paper, it just didn't look good. So I think I'm going to just leave everything just with the white border from when I printed them. The pictures based on my sketch are the actual sides, which includes the border. So the pictures are a little bit smaller. So, and if you're interested in a copy of my sketch, just shoot me an email. It's listed down below. in the description, and I can email you a copy of the PDF. So I'm going to clear this out, adhere my photos down. I am going to glue my title down because that's a little tedious. All I do is use a reverse tweezers to hold them, and then just some barely art glue. So let me get the pictures and the title adhered down, and then I'll come back and then we can do the embellishments. So I've got everything adhered down, glued down my title. I did use my T ruler to line that up so it was straight. Otherwise, this one worked perfectly on that little ledge. My flip flap, this will be my journaling, and then my other flip flaps. So now the fun begins. Now we get to add the embellishments. So I, on my Cricut, created a few pumpkins because it definitely needed some pumpkins. So I'm thinking, based on my sketch, pumpkin there. Bring that in real quick. Have another pumpkin here. And maybe a tab up here. I was thinking either here or here, but this is pretty close. So probably go up on top, and then maybe just a little something by the title because I have this empty spot here. So I think I can bring that in. I think I'm going to take, let's see if I can lift this up. I think I want to move it over just a touch. It's a little too close to the left. So I'm just using my Cricut spatula just to lift this up. I should be able to get that up, hopefully without ripping the paper. Otherwise, it will live where it is at. So let's see if we can get that up. Some good adhesive here. Okay, almost got it there. All right, I think I'm just gonna balance it between those two photos. I'd like it still to sit on the green, and that way I have a little extra room for the pumpkin here. I want to put one in here. I'm going to just tuck it behind my flip flap. That way it won't affect my flip flap opening. Do have one extra in case I want to use it. I brought in some greenery that I had cut for a previous layout. So I've got some green leaves. I punched out two different tabs. I have a tab punch, which is an old Stampin Up tab punch, as well as I cut one out of this little one here, which is keeping tabs die, but any tab will do. I also stamped and fussy cut out a bunch of little leaves and green leaves, and then like oak leaves, so more foliage, and then some leaves, you know, like oak and what have you. Trying to get them out of here. I have one more. So I have these to play with, and those ones came out of the Autumn to Remember. It is just a stamp set, so I just stamped out those, and then I had to fussy cut them because there is no die set. So I'm thinking this one is going to go down flat. Slide that over. Got a couple of tags as well. Let's see. Let's get this guy down. Using the empty one, I think, again. Or I emptied out another one. Wow. Going through it fast. I got one more here, I think. Oh, they're all empty. Look at that. I'll have to go grab myself a refill real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So I'm going to add just a little bit more on this one since I ran out. I'm going to tuck that one to the back, and then this one I have foam squares, so I'm just going to pop this one up because I like the dimension. So, and I like these big ones, and these are pretty low loft, so they don't stick up too much. So it just gives it a little bit of dimension without taking up too much room in your scrapbook. One more. And that one I'm gonna just stick to the front. I'm okay covering that up a little bit. I've got my tags. I cut out 2. I used, bring it in. This is my go-to tag. I always use, I don't always use, but I use this one most often. It's my favorite. It's got a little stitching around it. I bought this on Amazon. I did mean to ink these up real quick. I forgot to do it earlier, so I'm just going to come back in real quick and get those inked up. I don't need to do the bottom. I'm going to tuck those in. And this is just Old Olive again. And then let me bring in the pecan pie and get this one done as well. So real quick, helps hide the white core of the paper. So all right, so that's done. Let's get these put down. I'm thinking lift up a little bit, and I could always cut them a little shorter if I need to. Something like that. I'm going to trim them off real quick. Oops, they're a little bit longer than I want them to be. And then yeah, that's going to be better. Something like that. So let me adhere those down real quick, and I'll bring in either some ribbon or some dots or something to cover up the holes. Put that one in. Let's see. I'm okay with that going over the photo. There's not much there. And then I want to bring in, I'm thinking, these more viney, larger leaves. Maybe bring one up there. So I'm liking that. Let me just adhere those down. I'm just going to do a few of the bottom leaves so the rest stays kind of loose. I know it gets squished in the scrapbook, but I do like it when it's yeah, I'll lift this up just a little. I like it when it's loose and it just has a little bit of movement there. So all these, and these can all be trimmed if there's too much, too big. That one maybe should have been trimmed, but that's okay. We're gonna stick this one in here underneath, and then this one, and then I'm gonna add a few of those leaves that I stamped and fussy cut out. So let's lift that up. That can go underneath there, and let's add a couple of these in. Let's see how that's gonna look. So this is Cajun Craze, and I'm thinking that one is crushed curry. I have to go over to my stamp sets and check that out, but I'm thinking something like that. Maybe we can offset those like that. I'm liking that. So I'm actually going to bring in a little glue, make it easier to get those in. And I'm going to tuck this one in first, and I'll put this one on top. I just really like the fall colors, and like that. So, right. Yeah, every year they do a new theme, and obviously, as you can see, this one was fire, but I think this year the theme is like Hollywood or something like that. So that would be very, very interesting to see when they this year's festival. So we're gonna adhere this one down. I'm gonna leave this one flat and just tuck the leaves behind it. And this time I'm gonna use these smaller little ones. So in fact, let me just line them up first. See if I like what I'm deciding to do. Since I need to kind of keep those out of the way of the flip flaps. So we're going to raise that up just a bit. And then build up the cluster on this side as well. And maybe we'll add one extra on this side. that. And I'll add again another leaf. Oh, fall leaf and another one. Maybe we'll put a small one on this side since we don't have quite so much room. And we'll double this side up with these two. Yeah, it's not too bad. And then like I said, I want to put a little bit something up here. Got a couple more leaves left. Thinking just something to fill in that spot here since it's so open. Let's see if we can lift that up a little bit, get that underneath. And maybe another yellow one. And perhaps one more. Let's swap it out for a big one. Oops. And see if we like that. I'm liking that. So thinking I'm going to go with this larger tab. I'm just gonna I'm going to trim it down slightly, and I'm going to tuck it right underneath there because it's a little bigger than I need it to be. I didn't think about it prior to putting down my flip flap, so I'm just going to put a little adhesive on the inside so I can line it up, and then a little bit more on the back. And I'm just going to line it so it looks even, and then we can just stick that one right there. I'm thinking I'm going to just snag a couple of leaves and maybe I'll go cut a couple more, but I'm thinking that could use a little something more than just the tab. So I thinking I'm liking that. I'm going to go stamp a couple of more and cut them out, and I will be right back. So I stamped and fussy cut out some more leaves and foliage, built up this little cluster here, and then just felt that this was a little imbalanced with nothing right here. So I built up a little cluster there as well. And now I am just going to be adding some bling. These are the faux glass dots, and they come in all these different colors. I'm going to go with the green, I think. It does have two sizes, so I'm just going to add a few around each of my clusters. Let's see, I'm going to do a big one and then a smaller one here, and then I think another large one over here. I am going to bring some of the larger ones in. Oops, popped away. I'm just going to cover up the hole on my tags there so those don't show. I'm just doing the larger ones, like I said, for each of those. So I'm liking that. I'm going to add the same thing here. I'm just working it in groups of 3. I like the way that looks. And I'm thinking, let's see. I lost the sticky off of that one, so let's move that one aside and add another. Thinking maybe something like that. I want to add also to these as well. I'm going to go with a couple of small and one large. Oops, there we go. Oopsies. Again, lost the sticky. It ends up on my paper. I'm just going to rub that off real fast. I'll move that one aside. I'll just have to glue those down when I get around to using those. And then I'm going to add a couple here around my pumpkin on this side. And we will be just about done. Alrighty, just one more. Thinking, you know, none of my layouts are complete unless there's a little bit of dog hair floating around. It rules the roost in my house, that is for sure. I'm not real a fan of that. You put one here on the leaf and bring this one over here as well, maybe just right there on the corner. That's okay. I'm going to move this one over just a touch too. So, and then just maybe just one single one up here. Oh, that doesn't it needs 3. So we're going to just do the small ones, 2 on one side and just one over here. So that is my layout. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you're interested in the PDF of the sketch, please just send me an email. It is Irenespaperaddiction@gmail.com. It's also down below in the description, along with everything that I did use today. If you liked my video, if you could give it a thumbs up, that would be great. Drop me a comment if you have any questions. And until next time, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.